Oh my gosh. Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Hey guys, I'm checking out these new shades I got for tonight. Was just wondering what you guys thought about my new apparel for this evening. Again, welcome to Truth and Transparency. The members, subscribers, welcome. Thought I would give these a little taste test. What is up, hybrid Pisces? Again, welcome. This is going to be a rather quick live, about 45 minutes for us to chat. And for those notifications to click in. Nice surprise. Love the avian. If you guys don't know, you'll know later. All right, again, just like I said, getting ready for tonight's broadcast. I'll be over on the Drunk Turkey Show at 8:30 our time, 7:30 Central Time. So, yeah, just having some fun. You know, want to get used to like looking at a screen with these on. All right, again, guys. Hopefully your Friday is just banging. Mic drop in. You like these? Also, what you're looking at is the official, 8:30 tonight, Eastern Standard Time. Yes, 8:30. So the Central Time is 7:30. So that's 8:30 for the Eastern folks. But what you're looking at right here, this is the official Truth and Transparency Case File Day by Day breakdown. And it features, I don't know how many pages, 10 pages. But what I did is anything that was new, it got added to that date based on the press release. So I will have a PDF for anybody that is a member of my channel. You guys get the PDF. So you guys will have this. Like I said, this is the breakdown. A couple things I wanted to point out. Obviously, the gag order was extended. But not only was it extended, it was intensified. So no longer can, for example, Kaylee's parents' lawyer can no longer be speaking on anything to do with the case. He's gagged now as well. But if you noticed, they did not say that the parents can't speak. So it was that the lawyer can't speak. And I actually don't think it's because of him. I think it's other things, but something I want to talk about today is the 38. The 38. Here we go. Again, going to hop right into it. First of all, I don't know if anyone's talked about it, but Tyson Barrett was the captain. He was mentioned day one, never mentioned again. And guys, it is because of his daughter. His daughter attends University of Idaho, so there was a conflict of interest apparently. Went ahead and did a little dive on that, why Tyson was no longer never spoken about again. But I believe that they were on to Brian Kohlberger early on. And when I think that became apparent to me, when I went and deep dive, like what they were doing day by day and what I thought stuck out, is right here, the 38 interviews to date when they talked about it on November 18th. And then it jumps from this number to 250. And I went ahead and I said, okay, who do I think they interviewed? So this is a first glance ever reveal of my 38. Okay. And I want to know what you guys think. So I'm going to zoom in and do it like this. You know, Kaylee's parents. So Kaylee's sister, Maddie's dad, Maddie's boyfriend Jake, Jack D, Jack S, hoodie guy, Joe V, the big guy, talking to Jack S at the grub truck, the grub truck owner, the landlord of 1122 King Road, Dylan's boyfriend, Bethany, private party driver, the Grub Hub delivery guy, 111 the neighbors that provided the footage. Again, this is up until just the 18th, up until November 18th. Let's go down a little further. Whoopsies. Dylan's parents, BF. Maybe I'll go ahead and use initials here. I don't mean anything by it, but Hunter Johnson. There's just so many like same names. Ethan's mom, dad, sister, brother. Xana dad, Xana stepmom, Xana sister. Now I would add on, again, this is up until the 18th. I think I would go ahead and actually include Xana's mom in that. The Simpsons, because of the lease. So when they would have got the paperwork on the lease, that would have shown other names. And so therefore, I do believe that they were talked to pretty quickly. Again, this is my 38. The reason why this is important is because I believe somewhere up until the 18th, when the 19th and the 20th happen, I'll show you why I think whatever interviews happened up until those dates, November 19th and November 20th, I believe that Brian Kohlberger was already on their radar. We got the corner club owner, the business owner who supplied the video of Maddie and Kaylee walking with Jack S. that should have been released like way early. The Mad Greek owner, the Sigma Chi president, Jack K. Now, the reason I think that he was talked to early on is because of the Venmo payment from Ethan to him that night for a ride. Emily would be Hunter's girlfriend. Maddie and Xana's sorority president, Kaylee's sorority president. And now, if they're including talking to people like the mayor and the president of the school, okay, I only put them down because do they consider those interviews? But the first responding police officers, okay? But when you look at this list, guys, this is actually a list of 39, okay? Because if I throw out the mayor and I throw out the president of the school, you know, it just depends on when they say that they've interviewed 38 people. Curious to see what you guys think about this list. Again, this is the list that is up until November 18th. Do I think that they had talked to Adam at that time? Now that's questionable, only because of his connection with the corner club. Up until November 18th, this is when this was released. So do I think that the vape guy and like the neighborhood canvas is where I'm including in the neighbors, and that's like why it says 3 next to it. Okay. So like something like this, that would have happened after the 18th. 100. Yep, the Grubhub driver is on there as my 38. So I wanted to hear from you guys to see like, hey, are we missing something obvious here? But I think when you actually look at this list and you talk about 38, at first some people may think like, oh my God, 38 people, like who were those 38? But when you actually break it down, I mean, that's including when you take a big chunk of that number being family. Yes, I have the Mad Greek. I have the owners down in terms of employees. Do I think that that happened? Absolutely. Do I think it happened before the 18th? I think that it would just been the owners. Um, but where in this list of 38, where do we think information would have came from in terms of, I mean, that name Brian Kohlberger? Or, hey, I really don't know this guy, but this is what he looks like. He's around. He's a, he's this or he's that. He's a teacher over at WSU, but he's a grad student. I mean, like I said, could these kids have known him by a different name? Could they have known him by his own name? But who out of this list, you know, is going to say that name? And I think that you can cross off everybody's parent. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and you do that. I would leave them off. So yeah, anybody that I have there in yellow is who I would scratch off from being able to say that name. But at the end of the day, the reason I'm saying this is because you go to, I want you guys to take a look at this. You go to November 19th. This is like, again, anything that they said that was new. Right here. This is the first time that they start asking for surveillance between 3 and 6 a.m. in an area that's south of Taylor, provided they provide this map. They want footage regardless. This is the key part right here. Regardless if it has any content. Okay. You want to know why, guys? Because TNT believes that this was to eliminate. So as long as your camera showed me nothing during those times, I could then say there was no car that drove that path, that came along that street, things like that. So TNT believes this was to eliminate the routes that the White Elantra traveled after leaving the home. Okay. Again, this was after the 38 interviews that this was put in there. Okay. The 38 interviews gets updated, and they mentioned that they did 38 interviews. Then on November 19th, what they're asking for is this is what's added to it. And then on the 20th, they have their second police conference at the police press conference on television. And they add in 100 more tips. But right here, check out this wording. This is in and written in the press conference. It's in the press release, rather. Detectives are looking for context to the events and people involved in these murders. That's right from what they said. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that language? What's up, Mama Fee? Again, this is exactly word for word how it's written. Detectives are looking for context to the events and people involved in these murders. Now, I said to myself, well, this could be one of the worst ways to write something like this, which is we want context to the events of anything that the victims were involved in that night. Okay. But that's not what it says, guys. I mean, they're very, very, yes, people. It's not person. It's not person. And people involved in these murders. People is plural. Tips. This is like the new thing that they wrote on November 20th. Detectives are looking for context to the events and people involved in these murders. So, that screams plural. Also, if you want to talk about, you want to know, hey guys, if you have information that has to do with these homicides, in terms of like you were taking selfies and pictures with people, and you know you have like surveillance, like if you have video of you guys doing something silly or funny, whatever, um, the way that you would word that is completely different. How you write this, detectives are looking for context to the events and people involved in these murders. Anyone who observed noticeable behavior, has surveillance video, or can provide relevant information is asked to call the tip line. Yeah, you don't have to be the perpetrator to be involved. The police are always very, very careful with when they write things. This is what they do. For example, when you look at right here where they use the word believe. It's actually going to be here. It says detectives believe that the two surviving roommates were out on the town separately and arrived back home at 1 a.m. They use this word when they don't know something. When they say the word determined, it's been determined. When you see the word believe is their way to get around. Well, we didn't say that was for sure. That's what we just believed. So when you go through, you can see it. And then it's after November 20th, okay, after that second presser, that it's the first time on November 21st that the FBI, they put in the press release to say the FBI is now accepting tips for the first time, and there's an FBI link. Also, for the first time, they mentioned the dog is unharmed. So, so my question is I want to know what other vehicles were there, because in the PCA it says that there were other vehicles that came in and out during those times, but there was just a few of them. I want to know what vehicles. Obviously, one of them is going to be the driver that dropped off the food. Because you want to take a look at those vehicles and what kind of vehicles were they, and because I think there's going to be a big problem come the 26th with they're going to be arguing back and forth on what the time of death is. I think that the time of death being at between 3 and 3:30 versus being between 4 and 4:30. That's going to be a big discussion. It's going to be a big issue in court, because they put Brian Kohlberger on that car being there at 3:29. Well, if the deaths and the homicides happened, or at least some of them happened before 3:29, Brian Kohlberger's vehicle isn't there yet. So I think that that's going to be a big, big, big part of what happens in the courtroom. And I'm curious to see what the findings were, because not everybody died at the same time. There's 4 people there. Not everybody died at the same time. So I think that that's going to be, I think that there's going to be like a big window of between, let's say they said the deaths happen between 3 and 5 a.m. So it'll be but 100%, you're not going to be able to know exactly what time somebody died. Okay. But for the state has honed in on this white Elantra, and the timestamps of the white Elantra is there. So you need those homicides to happen during times that white Elantra was there, because that's what's connecting Brian Kohlberger to this case. So that's going to be huge. The white Elantra and Brian Kohlberger as one is everything in the case. And the reason I think that is because of them saying that they would have no problem throwing out the DNA and to not issue warrants based on that. So I thought that was wild. If you look and you see, there are starting to be reports out there that, mainstream media is starting to hint at the fact that there's this PCA isn't as amazing as they have been saying for the past, however long it's been since it's been out. You're going to start seeing more of that come out. Bushy freaking eyebrows. I can't. Map it all out. I've mapped it all out. You notice what they did in the warrant? They said that after the homicides that he came straight back to the house, basically. They said that they believe that because of the blood splatter and everything that would have been on him when he would have got back to his house, there would be blood because of the amounts of blood in that house. Okay. But yet in the other warrant, or in the probable cause to arrest, they said that he went, he made some loop, and his phone was over here, and, it's, again, you're going to make your case. I want anybody and all involved, period. So to map it out, then he would have left, according to the search warrant that was issued for the apartment, is that he left the crime scene and went home, and therefore there'd be blood everywhere. So they never said once in the search warrant for the apartment that he was MIA for an hour and a half. So, and then the following day you have a ping on the 14th, but you're saying that it's not. And again, they're not pinging to the house. They are pinging off of towers. Completely different. So, at the end of the day, there's 2,200 Elantras. They kept the public on this Elantra path. yet they had their person. So where did the name Brian Kohlberger come from? Like I've been saying since day one, you can get there. You can get there with the policing of, chopping down at this whole white Elantra. But when they found the white Elantra in the parking lot, okay, it didn't have one tag. It had the two tags. And I don't buy that they put it through a tip line. Again, you want everybody involved in something like this. I know if I was a parent of one of these victims, I would want anybody and everybody involved. Everybody. Period. I think also if Brian Kohlberger is the guy, it's all going to come out that he was the guy, and there's going to be all this evidence. And but you're innocent until proven guilty. So where'd the name Brian Kohlberger come from? And did somebody cough up his name to get immunity? How would you feel about that? He asked for that in the discovery. He wanted to know that. Is BL in here? Hey, BL. Love you, BL. I also think that JRL has the biggest, bushiest eyebrows I've ever seen. So I think that he should be on the witness list or the possible suspect list. JLR, he'll get a kick out of that when he sees this. I was just watching one of his videos and I said that to myself. I'm like, you know what? He's got some really bushy eyebrows. So yeah. Also, I think that the whole rumors about sliding into someone's DMs, I just, to even say that came from an investigative source is just ridiculous. That's all going to help Brian Kohlberger. People reporting like that and saying that you have these sources that are close to the investigation. You're asking for stuff to get thrown out. So I don't know why you're doing that. You don't want anything like that to happen. Oh no. JLR, he's not going to sue over here. You guys, okay, I'm just getting ready for tonight. I had to try these aviators on to see like how I would look at the screen. And I'm like, yeah, I got to squint. But so yeah, that list of the 38 there, when you think about it, who was interviewed, up until that point, you're doing a lot of work with the crime scene, but then you have to have your guys, on the, boots on the ground, you're knocking on some doors. And so what were those 38 interviews? And like I said, they jump from 38 to 250 because they don't let us know about anything like that, ever again until a point in December, I want to say 20th, I believe. And the timeline bugs me. I'd be lying if I didn't say that the timeline didn't bug me. The timeline should bug a lot of people. You know how much surveillance you'd have to go through to get to the point of when a car just disappears because you have it leaving and then it could go all these different ways. So you need everybody to come forward that has possibly surveillance. Okay. Hey, does anything, just because something also didn't hit your motion sensor to go off, that does not mean that someone didn't travel that way. Is it circumstantial? Yeah, you want to use that, but it's not definite just because it didn't hit. So, but they were doing that elimination, and they wanted all that stuff like early on. Um, that it was after the interviews, though. It was after the interviews. So every single time I've shown a body cam footage here, people go out and then they come back home and then they're all hanging out. So what's to say that on that night that they didn't come home and they were all hanging out? Because doesn't it make sense if somebody is supposedly getting there at 3:29 and they keep making laps and whatever? They're like waiting for what? They're waiting for the lights to go out. They're waiting for people to leave. So were people there? And also, that sorority fraternity playing jokes on each other, things like that. Who's to say if you actually watch every damn scary movie that there is out there, people are committing these crimes while people are actually at the house. So if people are outside and people are inside and you just say, hey, I got to go to the bathroom, and you go upstairs and you use the bathroom, and, you commit 2 homicides up there, but the people that you're there with and hanging out with, they're outside smoking, getting high out on the couch outside, and you just walk out the front door. And then just, and then everyone's like, oh, where did, Bob go? Oh, he probably went home. You know what I mean? It's like people go and come, and you're not like, 30 and 40 where you're, giving formal hello and goodbyes at parties. That's not how it is in college. You just continue on. So, but if someone's going to be circling like that, you have to ask yourself why. And whoever was in this white Elantra was circling. My camera goes off when the wind blows because I set it to record all motion. Yep. There's people that'll say like there's a little spider that will come across, and then it gets that. Absolutely. I wonder if they interviewed the 150 people who was supposedly there at the house that Friday night. Well, like I said, it jumps from the 38. It stays on 38, and then it jumps to 250, and then from 250 to 300. But it does not jump to the 250. We don't know about that number until a month or so will go by. So they stopped talking about that. Hey, what's up? What's up? Circling to make sure it was caught on camera. Yeah. But if you think about it, when you have a house, and we've all seen the body cam stuff of, people hanging out there, and Xana saying, hey, well, my roommates are still out at, wherever, the corner club or whatever. And she was getting ready to go to bed. Or was she? I mean, I would have been saying the same thing. Yep, all these people are going to leave. So to me, if I'm trying to, how am I supposed to take on killing 4 people if they're all awake, right? Like, no. So I'm waiting until the people leave and the lights go down, and if that's what the circling's all about. But maybe the circling is because of, picking somebody up, and then you go and you make a run somewhere and you go and do something, and then you're dropping them back off. And then they forget something. So I'm just saying, if it was any other night, think about it. Say that you don't know the outcome of that night. Everything that would be going on that this camera allegedly picks up, that would be normal until you see the outcome that morning. So then you're going to try to break down every little thing. So they were just on this, and then the car goes away. You can't find it again until you get to the point of you're like, okay, let's look at WSU's surveillance over there? Because did you go through all the surveillance on your own campus? So that you go over there and you start going through. And I was reading when they started doing that. And because they'll start talking about it. And it doesn't start talking about it till they basically already have their person. But so when you start doing that, hey, we got to start going through footage where we can find, give us any footage that has like a white Elantra on it. See if you can find anything. Like, are you guys like hearing that? Okay, so here we found it. No, wouldn't there be like a bunch? And also if you're trying to like, okay, that white Elantra was first in at 329. So like, what type of range are you looking at? You know how many footage, you know how much you'd have to go through to like possibly get that? I mean, I just don't think people realize like that. I watched footage. It's called Two Cousins. It's a convenience store. And I watched 6 hours, but there was 12 different cameras outside and 12 inside. Do you know how long it takes to go through 12 different cameras during that 6 hour period? This is just one store to try to find something. And what I was looking for is I was looking for people that were coming in and out of the store because I wanted to put them down as people to talk to say, hey, did you hear any gunshots? You know, because you were walking in at the same time that these gunshots were allegedly going off because they were never interviewed. And if you could have enough of these people that were there at the time of the murder that's supposed to happen right there, it's like, did you hear anything? No. Did you see anybody fleeing? No. But I had to sit there and watch, 6 hours times 12 cameras. Now take a whole university. How do you get that? How do you get to find that on Nevada Street that we see this white Elantra at 2:44, and then we see it again at 2:53, just out of the fucking blue. Oh yeah, I'm getting ready for tonight, Peanut. I'm just working on my aviator game, in case you guys are wondering. And this is critical thinking. This is logic. I mean, if you were in charge of this investigation and this happened and you get to the scene and you process the scene and that's what the people there, but they're in charge, they're supposed to say, here you go. This is your case. So you're talking to your people that were there. You're getting their statements. And then we want to hurry up and pull all the footage that we can. We need mass footage to find, who came here and who did this in the middle of the night. Okay, so then you're sitting there going through. Okay, and but they knew they were looking for this white Elantra, and they don't bring in WSU or other surrounding law enforcement to say about this white Elantra until November 25th. But they knew about it on November, 14th, 13th, when they were talking to the neighbors and when they retrieved that from the neighbors. So why would you wait from November, 13th until November 25th to notify surrounding law enforcement of a white Elantra? Why would you wait that many days? Be on the lookout, right? Did you not trust putting it out to the law enforcement people? Like, did you think that if there was going to be a problem if you did that? But so like, if I'm in charge of this case and I'm sitting there with like my group of men and women, I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. Like, we got the universities going crazy. No one thinks that they're safe, but we think this is a targeted attack because of the evidence that was in that house, which I cannot wait to hear that of why it would be isolated, targeted. Because I believe that if this person, people were told that they were not in danger. Okay. And I just think that that's crazy. But if I'm in charge of this investigation, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, we're going to pull all of this. We got this white car leaving. We got a couple other vehicles that were there. But at first we think the time of death is like at 3 or 3:30 because of the original statements. And then finally we're coming clean with like, okay, well, what's going on here? Because when we pulled the footage from the next door neighbors, we saw in the morning and people were here before you guys called 911. So what's going on here? What did you do? You know? And then they come clean about, okay, yeah, we clean, let's say, hypothetically speaking, we clean drugs out of the house because we were so nervous we didn't want to get in trouble for like marijuana. We had weed in the house. We had paraphernalia, you know. Okay, well, who was here that night? Okay, listen, you guys aren't in trouble for anything like that, you know? So let's start from the beginning. Tell me everything because no one's getting in trouble here. Like we want to get the people or person that did this. So I do believe that there would have been 2 interviews, hands down. So I got this footage. We have this white Elantra because now we find out that somebody ordered DoorDash and that's a DoorDash person. Okay. Because they would have been there at the same time pulling up. But the car goes poof, it leaves right when it pulls out and it's on Malenta. So I can do all these pressers to say, hey, we're looking to get this. But we have to send manpower out there to start knocking on doors and saying, hey, I noticed that you have a Ring camera. You may not have been watching the news, or maybe they're out of town. Or then you got to deal with, is it a university house that they rent out to kids and they're just like oblivious and just out of it? So you need to, this is a lot of manpower. This is a lot of police work. And not even police work. This is a lot of just leg work, period. Okay, so we got to collect all these streets and everything that they want. Hey, we need you to come forward. We need you to bring this to us. All while, you're dealing with that. Then you're dealing with the evidence as it's being, hey, is everything being done right? Then we got to deal with, we're getting calls. Parents are calling. Oh my God, my kid, they need to come home. Like, what the heck's going on? There's a mad person. What do you mean people were stabbed? What do you mean this is a target attack? I mean, you're talking to all the parents of all the victims and their family. And you got tons of stuff going on. And you can't do it all. So you're obviously telling all your people, like, you're in charge of this and you're in charge of that. But at the end of the day, we have to debrief on everything, because I got to make sure that I'm getting everything that you guys went out and did. So wait, you just interviewed all these people, or you went out and got all this camera footage. You got to label it right. You got to, it's time consuming. And not only is it going to be time consuming, but you have to make sure that your time turns into something then effective. Meaning, yeah, here I just went and collected all these cameras off of Valencia. Well, what addresses are these? You got to label stuff. You got to, okay, this is at this. And then to lay all that out. And then to now you're going to try to track down where this white Elantra went and when it actually got there. Now, if you had a name, or if you had, hey, there's this person that comes over from WSU and yeah, we kick it. The point of this and talking this out is to show you how difficult to get to that person without anybody saying anything, the type of work that would have come. And don't say, oh, it came from the DNA. It came from the DNA. You guys, I'm telling you, you need to throw that out for right now. Okay? What you had is you had unidentified male DNA. Okay? And that even if you're going to try to go through, a company that has, like, the family trees and all of that stuff, that still is going to take a long time to do that. And that's even if it is there. And not once, as you guys have seen in the PCA, was that even mentioned that they had that. So without a name, I don't believe that Brian Kohlberger would be arrested right now. That's why I believe that his name, or at least something about him, came up to then get you to a path of, okay, this person was here. We got to prove that he was here because this is who I was hanging. This is who we were hanging out with that night, whatever. Or this is who we've been hanging out with. And so, and I think the more that you talk about how tedious this would need to have been to try to even be able to put a PCA like that together to talk about, well, 3/4 of a mile away from Brian Kohlberger's house, we found this white Elantra. It was on a camera at 2:44 a.m. Then it was on a camera at 2:53 a.m. in this basically the same location. Now, doesn't it make a whole hell of a lot more sense if you had some information that you thought somebody was, I don't know, an intern at one of the police departments, and then you're like, wait, what? Who's our interns? Check out our interns. Then you realize, well, Moscow just started their cadet program that year. Okay, so WSU has one, and you're not getting a Brian Kohlberger off of this circumstantial stuff. I'm sorry, you're just not. And everyone can say, oh, it's because the license plate. Okay. Well, people take their license plates completely off. You saw the Eugene, the Oregon one, didn't even have a back license plate. Yeah. Were they taking pictures? Was he in a, yes. Was he in, you're taking selfies, you're taking a bunch of pictures. That's what kids do. Snapchat, go look all your Snapchats. You guys like this is for tonight. Just getting used to being able to see the screen at the same time. Anyways, it's really tedious. And then I just went ahead and I took, okay, who would have been the first 38 people interviewed? And which one of those people could have talked possibly about Brian Kohlberger or about stuff that would have taken place? Do me a favor. We have 1,500 people in here. Hit the thumbs up or thumbs down. Make yourself known. So see, Lydia, that's not my issue. How do you get there? I just explained that. Like, think about that. Once you gather all the information from here, we have all these cameras. This is from this person's house, this street, this street, this street. Okay. Well, guess what? Nothing. Oh, wait, we see the white Elantra here. We got him on this. We got it here. Okay. Then what? Go look at the PCA and what it says. And what Payne says is that, oh, when you're coming out, it had to go on Palouse River Drive. And then that's straight to Pullman. But that's not what he did. He didn't go that way. He actually goes where his phone allegedly pings is way out the other way. So they created this PCA and it's all circumstantial, and this is about the probability of doing something. But how do you line up Kohlberger to that vehicle? Great, awesome. You found a white Elantra. Great. You're following it around. We're following it. Okay, here, we have it on this camera. Look at it's right there, Lana. All right, awesome. Put that on the board. Now, go to that house and see if they have it. Okay, see if they have, okay, go to that road then. All right, do we see it again? Yeah, Lana, we got it over here. Okay, great. Wait a second. It's going that way now? Wait, it's going that way? Like, wait, what the where's that? Oh, wait, and then we have it over here. Now it's back. Wait, it's over here? It's by the gas station now? What the hell is going on around here? This white Elantra is just driving all over? It's being seen on all these cameras? So then you're like, okay, wait, what is going on here? We have it looping around the house at these different times. We have that. So it makes sense that it's looping through the area of the university, right? Okay. But now we got to get it when it leaves. Okay. And also we got to get it when it's like, what time does it actually get in to the university? So, and that's when we're labeling the 326 time, where we see it over there on 700 block of Indian Hill. Then we have it leaving. Okay, so then let's look at everything going into Pullman at, if it's left at 4:20, it should be at Pullman at 4:40. Let's start looking at everything on that road from 4:40 to 5 o'clock. Go. Okay, so then you start doing that. Nothing, 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 nothing. Okay, extend it to 5:30. Okay. Nothing. Or do they have something that's just not there because they're not showing it? But it's not part of the PCA until you get to the point of Bishop, and it's at 5:26. 5:26. And then it's on Cougar Way, and then it just stops, and that's when it says, well, it's 3/4 of a mile from where Brian Kohlberger lives. But wait a second, that's like an hour and 5 minutes after the murders. Possibly 2 if you thought the murders happened at 3. But then we know that no, the car didn't leave out of there till 4:20. That's what that would have to do. You'd have to do stuff like that. Yeah, no way he went. No, he didn't go straight home. That's the whole point of, like, if he left at 4:20, if he went straight home, he should be on those cameras at 4:40. He wasn't on those cameras until, well, this vehicle that they're using until 5:26, like almost an hour later, 40 minutes later. An hour and 20 minutes from the time that the car left at 4:20. So think about that. So think about, like, you're putting him on this car that is an hour and 20 minutes after the murders, and you put in one of the search warrants that you thought that he went straight home, and that's why there would be blood all in his apartment. But yet your path and him getting home shows that he didn't go straight home. But yet you said that to get a search warrant. I'm just showing you from the perspective of is how do you get that? How do you get to Brian Kohlberger? Because let's say that you don't have his name. So you have a white Elantra, and you have a white Elantra, not parking, not getting out, not walking anywhere. You just have a white Elantra that you're starting at Nevada Street at 2:54 a.m. on the night of the murders, and you have it ending at 5:40 or 5:36 or something like that. Same night. But it just stops. Okay. Oh, I think if they back up the cameras to the 244 one, you're going to see it possibly at the WSU Police Department. That's what I think. And I think them calling stuff like suspect vehicle 1. There was no one out there at night. College towns, you'd be surprised. They said a few different cars went up and through where King residence was. So when you just break that all down like that, I think that if there was something with his license plate, it'd be in the PCA. Because then that's not circumstantial. The part that would be circumstantial is if he was driving or not. Also, how would it make you feel that if the car has been processed and there's nothing in it? Because you know what Nancy Grace said. Nancy Grace said, I don't care what you would do to that car. There's going to be something in that car. Okay. Well, I don't think so. I'm saying if there's multiple people involved, I think that I would want everybody involved. That was my kid. And I think that that's what justice is. So anybody that had a hand in this, you want to talk about immunity? What are you giving out immunity for? But it's interesting that that's what they asked for. The discovery asked for that. Who got immunity? Nancy Gracism. Thank you. That comment right there. Thank you. I like your Nancy Grace impersonation. She's a wild, man. I give people credit. She's just loud, man. She's loud. You know what? Those crazy people can say all these things like, "Oh my God, Nancy, Nancy, Nancy." Dude, she has a career. People watch her. You know, she has her show. So as crazy as anybody, I mean, shit, she's doing something right. I think it's just because she's so controversial. But when you're controversy, when you play down the middle and you be logical, people don't want that on TV. People want you to ride or die for one of the sides. Yeah. See, there we go. We got some Nancy Grace fans. There we go. Nancy Grace is amazing. There we go. I see clearly it's working though. You know, whether or not she's your cup of tea, she's enough people's cup of tea because she's got her, you know, she's got her show. And Nancy is the first person who reported DNA had been found. You know what that means, right? She must pay top dollar for her sources. I'm just kidding. Lana, have the lawyer you know on. We can dissect these things. Maybe I will. You would ask for discovery right off the rip. Think about it, guys. It can only be one of two things. Either Brian did it, right? Or he's being set up. He's being framed, right? That's how I look at it. Either he was the mastermind and set this all up, or he is being set up. To me, it's one or the other. For somebody to be able to get into that house, and it was supposedly locked, but no signs of forced entry. How are you getting into that house? Well, what if you're just one of the people there kicking it, you know? I got a funny story about Chris Hansen. So I have a trivia company, and one of my favorite team names that people would use, we do trivia out in like the restaurants, resorts, bars, things like that. And it's team trivia. So you come in with like your friends and do whatever and play, and you make up your team name. And I get this little ticket and it says, Chris Hansen is a cock block. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? So I had to say that all night on the microphone. And then they ended up winning. Have a seat right over there, yeah. So I know, right? Pretty funny, right, Chan? I was dying. I mean, if you know, you know. I had a ton of people coming up and they're like, who's Chris Hansen? I can't believe that you're just saying that someone's a cock block. I'm like, oh God, if you don't know, you don't know. But Imagine saying that over and over on the mic. In the lead, Chris Hansen is a cock block. What? Yeah. Coming up from behind here, Chris Hansen is a cock block. So, absolutely. Could Brian Kohlberger be guilty? Absolutely. Do I believe that you are innocent until proven guilty? Absolutely. I believe in our U.S. Constitution. I believe that people that are running around with, and pressing on with rumors, shame on you. You want to get the right guy. You want to have all the evidence available. People don't need to be throwing things out because of stuff that so-and-so leaked, and because Brian Kohlberger is not just going to take a plea deal. He's not going away. So don't help him. Okay. But, as a parent, I'd want everybody involved, and I'd also want this to never happen again. So if there was something that made this easier, or, if it had anything to do with one of the programs that was used at one of the schools to gain access to certain things and things like that, you'd want that known so it doesn't happen again. So thank you. Innocent until proven guilty. Yep, that's my motto. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you support a murderer or murderers. It means you support a process. And I'm all about processes, and I'm all about doing things the right way, because when you do it the right way, you get the right results. That's the athlete in me, I guess. Yep. Need some Z's. Yes, me too. She says it's the only logical thing to hold every person accountable. Yeah. You opened up the door for him, you're accountable. You whatever the case may be. Good question there, Hannah. If he was framed, how did they choose him? I think that's a great question. More so, like, why do you even need to frame somebody? But let's be honest here. If you want to push a story away, because in the end it's going to ruin a lot of things, you're more so doing it not because of, you're not framing somebody because you're trying to get the eye off of a person necessarily, more of like a situation, a way of life. That university, University of Idaho, rather, just like WSU, these universities, they don't want the bad light on them. And if they don't want something, it's going to cost not only them the money, it's going to cost the community the money. All those businesses that are in that area, if you take away those colleges, what do you have? Frisco says no victim DNA in car. Accomplice suspect ran from scene. Oh. I don't like the glasses. I like to see people's eyes. They tell so much. Oh, this is for me getting ready for tonight there, Midge. They wear aviators, or one of them do. So I was trying mine out. So yeah, I was actually watching a bunch of stuff this morning, just on, the whole hazing of fraternities, and there was a death over on Bowling Green's campus in Ohio, and just like looking, into stuff like that. And Greek life, man, They're not going to let this come back on Greek life. They're going to do whatever they can. So LJ says, I don't believe he was framed. That's ridiculous. Absolutely. Could be. I just think that when somebody is so guilty, or this is the person, like, awesome, then just do it the right way. You have all this evidence. You're going to lay it all out in court. And then guess what? You got your guy, and he's going away forever and ever and ever, or he gets the death penalty. But it's like the best team in the NFL. You still have to play those playoff games before you can get to the Super Bowl. You still have to beat and do things the right way for your couple games until you can play in the Super Bowl. You just don't, so it's no difference here. Like, hey, go take care of business, get it done, do it the right way, and then you got your jury listening to everything. They get it all, and then boom, come Super Bowl day, come sentencing, come, verdict, boom, you got it, And so I've seen it happen one too many times, that when you don't hold police and you don't hold law enforcement accountable and doing things the right way, you have to do it the right way all the time. That is why people get wrongfully convicted, accused, and convicted. And I think as citizens, it's just our job, because when you wrong one man, you wrong us all, because it could be you. I'm not saying that's the case in this, but I'm saying nobody should ever have a problem with letting due process happen, because then that doesn't make sense. Then you don't believe in the justice system, because our justice system is based on a system. And you can't just go from 1 to 120. You just can't. That's asinine. Kate, if you don't think the police and the FBI aren't capable of setting someone up, yeah, I think anybody can. Anybody can. Everybody has a price, unfortunately, in this world. Because think about it. What if your kid's life was on the line and they asked you to do something? So I'm not saying it's that extreme, but to think that people can't do things is. I think this case is a proven fact in its own that people do things. The unthinkable. So. Caroline, great comment there. There is purpose to hazing compliance. Well, Gypsy, do you think it's possible he was prepared some of the times his phone was there, but the doors were locked, and this time it wasn't? Well, they seem to say that this was pre-planned. This was so planned. This didn't just happen because of conflict. This was planned. So I'm interested to see the pre-planning that went into this, and I'm more interested to see why they think that. And they thought that right off the rip. Like, whatever happened when they walked in there, however the crime scene was, and whatever was said, and whatever they gathered that first day, this was an isolated, targeted attack, and the community is not at risk. Well, what makes you say that? So I'm curious to know that when the cops, because when the state puts on their case, they're going to have the first officers that arrived, they're going to be questioned first and going to go through, the 911 call. Then they're going to talk about when they arrived, who they met, who was there. Okay. What did you see? What'd you do? Stuff like that. And then you're going to have all your cross-examination of those people. The FBI agents that honed in on the make and model of that car, cross on that. So then you got your eyewitness testimony. And then after the state puts on their cases, here, this is our guy and this is how we got to him. Because that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested into how did you get to Brian Kohlberger? Because I'm 100 on the fact that, and you're not going to be able to get me off of this, is that you didn't track down 22,000 Elantras. You didn't take a list from both campuses and look at who owned them. Okay. That just didn't happen. And if it did happen, there'll be receipts about it. And that's what comes out in discovery. And those are the questions that are asked on cross. So I'm just, how do you get to Brian Kohlberger? You know how many people, okay, think about it. White Elantra comes out to the public December 7th. When they'd already identified Brian Kohlberger November 29th, but comes out to the public, us December 7th. And then here, the gates just get flooded with all these tips that are totally freaking useless, right? How did you know that Brian Kohlberger went to Pennsylvania? What if Brian Kohlberger had a horrible relationship with his family and he actually decided for Christmas he was going to go to Vegas to be with his cousins or his aunt? How did you know that he went to PA? You're watching him. You're following him. If you weren't on Brian Kohlberger until X date, then you wouldn't know where he was. He could have been, Brian Kohlberger could have been in Panama City or in Cali for Christmas. I mean, how do you know where Brian Kohlberger is and that he went home when he was with his parents to even possibly go through, the traffic stop? Well, they're claiming that was just a, FBI didn't have anything to do with that. We didn't have anything to do with that. It's all going to come out. Yeah, they were following him closely. When did you just start following him closely? Also, what's going to come out is why didn't you ever call him? Or did you call him? Did you ever go to the apartment? Have you guys looked and saw that they know that the door to the apartment's white and there's a swinging screen door? How would you know that if you've never been there before? But you find his car November 29th, the same day that they moved the vehicles of the victims to a secure location. I don't know how much more secure it's on camera. It's right there. Why would you, I would just, whatever. Same day you find his car, 11/29 is the same day that you're moving the victims' cars. And then he leaves. Well, how did you know that he left? How did you even know that he left? So great, he was pulled over in Indiana. You think that Indiana called up Colorado? I mean, not Colorado, but Idaho and said, hey, we just pulled over some guy named Brian Kohlberger. You think that's how that happened? I mean, just when you think about things in logic, it's just, wait, hold on, I missed one. Wait, where is it? If it was so pre-planned and wasn't a target, then he would have committed the crime another night because they didn't live there. He knew who was there. Possibly. They were following him. How else did they get his trust? Yeah, but think about that. When did they start following him? Think about that. They were following him, right? But that means when did he leave? December 13th. Okay, December 13th. We didn't even know. Okay, the public, just think about this, guys. Two surviving roommates were down on the bottom floor, didn't see anything, slept through it, and they are not perpetrators, they are not witnesses. And then boom. And then boom, you get kicked off your own show. uh Hey guys, don't worry, I'm back. um yeah, I know. The internet was like, oh hell no, you're not saying that. Oh gosh. Anyways, that's my cue because I've been on for an hour and 15 minutes and I have to keep it right around there, if not shorter. But tonight it's going down. I'll be on the Drunk Turkey show tonight at 8:30 Eastern Standard, 7:30 Central. So but you guys rock. Yep. So that this is your pregame. I wanted to come out and see all of you guys. But I also just I wanna talk things through just so you guys can see that I am by no means a Brian Colbert supporter. If Brian Colbert is guilty, he's guilty. If he is innocent, he is innocent. But by God, I am not a sheep. Okay. I am a person with a beautiful mind. And I see so many of you guys with your comments. You guys have beautiful minds. Okay. And we're going to talk things through. Just because you're told something, okay, that's like, I'm not going to go copy off the person next to me. I'll get a D on my own. Okay. So we're going to use our brains and we're going to have respect on both sides. And we're going to have, we can have fun while we talk about something that is sorrowful, and because that's what life is all about. You want to take away the things that are good, and but you also want to respect and keep things a certain way, and that's where integrity matters. So we're allowed to hold people accountable. Oh God, no, I was mad at myself knocking stuff over here. So I'm gonna have my aviators on tonight. But yeah, it's gonna be a good show. We're gonna talk about a lot of things. But when you come over to this channel, come here with an open mind and come here with the foundation of the US Constitution. Because whoever did this in any way, shape, or form, this is horrific. Because you don't just have the victims that passed away, but none of those kids on that campus feel safe. That university forever has changed. The people that were friends with the victims, their families, there's so many victims in this case. And if there's more to a story, and if you don't get it all out, then you could possibly, something like this could happen again. But if you got the whole story out, then it could be prevented, possibly. So we know that the cops are capable of getting on a microphone and telling us something that they know not to be true, period. And they're going to have a hard time overcoming that in court. That's what I think. All right, guys. See you soon. Make sure you guys bring something tasty to drink. All right, guys. Again, hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs down, make yourself known. Either you like it or you don't, but either way, you have a voice, you have a thumb, use it. And again, tonight it's on the Drunk Turkey channel, and then next Friday it's on this channel. So we'll see you then.